So the Sennheiser HD600 is definitely one of my favorite headphones in my headphone collection. So I do like the fit on the ear. It's just super duper snug, open design, and of course that sound that you can listen to for some monitoring and also some casual listening. So there's no sibilance inside, so you can use this for a long listening session. And of course the quality is really good with this one. Now enters the HD6XX, and the 6XX is based from the 650. But the 600 being, you know, my super duper favorite in the 600 range. We're also gonna compare it to the 600 in this review. But really exciting for the 6XX is it's 2 times cheaper, or maybe even 3 times cheaper depending on where you are, because the 6XX is under $200. Actually, with the Black Friday sale, it's just around $170. So really great price for, you know, a 600 series Sennheiser. Right, so first we have a very big box. Look at how big this is. This is actually similar to the box that came with the 600s. So let's look at what you get inside the box. So you have a, you know, Sennheiser and Massdrop version, 6XX reference class headphone, and the Sennheiser and the Very Dynamic is actually, you know, my top 2 favorites. But I would say I still like the 600. It's one of, you know, my keepers. If there's like maybe 3 headphones that I'm gonna keep, definitely the 600 would be one of them, even if, you know, it's one of my cheaper pairs. Actually, I have more expensive pairs. So actually this is a little bit, you know, more upscale compared to my other Massdrop unboxing. Alright, and you get the headphone right away, and you have manuals. Alright, so let's go to the cable. So in the cable you have an extension plug. So you have a 3.5 and then extension plug. So this is also the same than what you get with the HD600s. So they kept it here. Alright, so looking at the build itself, so right off the bat, this is a bit lighter compared to my HD600. But what I do like here is the color. It's an all-black design, and you guys know I like an all-black design. So you have a clear side here, much like the HD600, not like the 660, which has the Sennheiser logo. This is a very minimalist design. You have HD6XX here, and also at the top you do have 2 foams. Compared to the HD600, you have more pads. Here you just have 2 pads, and you do also get that Massdrop logo here at the side. And the metal band also is black, which is nice. And I also do like that kind of a matte-ish kind of plastic. You do have Sennheiser logo at the top. So it looks pretty sleek for me. So right off the bat, compared to the HD600, the HD600 actually is a little bit more heavier. So maybe it's the plastics that they used. It's a smidgen heavier compared to the 6XX. So you do get that glossy, you know, kind of finish with the 600s. It definitely kind of feels more upscale with the glossy plastic, but actually the pattern here is not something I like. I do prefer, you know, the all black design. So actually at the side, they're pretty much identical except for the logo. The pads also are pretty much identical. They have the same kind of texture, but you do have different cables. In terms of cable, actually the cable here is more substantial compared to the 600. It's definitely thicker, and actually in terms of length also it's more manageable compared to the 600. The 600 has definitely a longer cable. It's definitely, you know, for home kind of usage. So if you look at this, it's almost like 2 times to 3 times longer in the 600s. So if you're gonna take the 600s outside, you need to, you know, definitely roll up the cable. Compared to the 6XX, as definitely can be, you know, more of a mobile kind of design, which is definitely a big advantage. This is definitely very similar to the 600s. I'm a super duper fan of the fit with the 600. It's one of my favorite fits on a headphone because you know, it's shaped like your ear, and it's an open design, so it's a very comfortable wear. And I also do like you know, that kind of velour pads that it comes with. I'm not really a fan of leather pads because I have a lot of headphones and the leather pads is just bogged down already. So, you know, for long activity, I really prefer velour pads. And also the foam at the top, I do prefer that more than you know, leather, you know, kind of foam at the top, because as I mentioned, I have a lot of you know, leather pads bogged down. So I do like this kind of design. This will last more compared to other headphones. So actually, that's why my 600 is kind of my daily driver in my PC when I'm listening to the sound test, because I know that it won't bog down on me even if I use it every single day. So the foam is really good, and of course that look, it's kind of really understated. I would actually go outside with this, you know, all black design with a kind of turquoise design with the H600. It kind of looks silly in a way, but this is all black design. I would go out with this one. This is really a looker for me, and it's very stable on the ear, so definitely stability is really good on this. So I'm gonna have a listen and give you guys my impressions in how this sounds like. Alright, now let's go to the sound. So the 6XX is actually very close to the 600 with a slight difference in tuning, especially in the bass and mids region. So from 32 to 60 Hertz, there's some bass elevation with the 6XX. And also in the mid-range, from 1K to 5K region, the 600 is a bit more forward in the mix compared to the 6XX. But they're really very close. They're just, 1 to 2%. 3% difference in terms of sound. So it's a lively sounding headphone. It's kind of fairly neutral with a touch of warmth. Still has that famed lush mid-range with the 6XX. It's natural sounding, so really nice tonality overall. The 600 is still more accurate sounding, more revealing sounding compared to the 6XX, but they're not far off. Especially in that mid-range region, I still prefer the 600s. So it's a touch different from the 600s. The 600s is a little bit more revealing and a little bit more lively compared to the 6XX. The 6XX is a touch more warm and a bit more smoother in comparison, but they're really close. So they're pretty hard to power. You definitely need an amplifier to power this. Also, this will be very hard to power with your mobile phone. So in terms of highs, there's enough extension on top, but this is not the brightest headphone. So this is not a super duper clarity focused headphone. It's not also super airy, just enough airiness at the top. There's also no sibilance here inside, which is nice. But what I like about this is a natural timbre in the sound, in the highs. So definitely, Sennheiser nailed the tonality in this. Very nice highs in terms of tonality overall. But definitely, if you're a clarity nut, if you're a highs nut, you might find this lacking for you. So I'd say this is not the strength of the 6XX. Now going to the mids, this is the strength of the 6XX. This is definitely the highlight of the 600 series from Sennheiser. So much like the 600, there's lush mid-range here. So the vocal region is really nice here, forward in the mix. Lots of texture. And also the vocal region is not too shouty, so even if you push up the volume into very high levels, there's no issue with fatigue when listening to a long listening session. So actually compared to my other headphones, the 600 series and the 6XX also is one of the few that I can push up the volume and I can listen to louder volumes without having fatigue after a long listening session. So very nice mids here. So one of the best mids in that $200 price range and $300 even. So still up to now, this is really nice mids, lush mids and rich at that. So my only issue here, the mids are a bit veiled in comparison to maybe the 600s or maybe even the DT1990. So definitely that kind of warmish presentation here made the vocals a bit more veiled in comparison to the 600. And of course, more revealing headphones like maybe planar headphones or the DT1990s. But is it a big difference? Not really, but it's definitely there. But even so, I would say this is the highlight of the 6XX. I just need to mention that in comparison to the 600s. Bass goes deep and definitely present in the mix. So the bass here actually is more substantial, actually maybe a lot more substantial compared to the 600s. It has a lot more commanding bass, also more forward in the mix and more beefy presentation, and has a little bit more punch also in the bass. So definitely this has more oomph in the bass compared to the 600. The 600s definitely is a more tamed, a more mellow kind of bass compared to the 6XX. So for bass heads, actually you will like the 6XX more than the 600s. Detail wise, there's definitely substantial detail here because of that kind of rich presentation and that kind of lush mid-range, but definitely this is not a detail monster. This is not something that you want to use for ultimate detail. So this is just all right for me, but definitely substantial here. This is not lacking in detail at all. In terms of response, it's just okay here. There's some speed here, but this won't equal planar headphones. This is just all right in terms of response. Definitely you would want to go with maybe planars or electrostats if you want super duper fast headphone. Stage is not so big here. This is the weakness of the 6XX. This is actually pretty cramped. In terms of the width, is actually good, but not a lot of depth here. So yeah, this is definitely a kind of a cramped soundstage. So if you're into soundstage, maybe the 6XX is not for you. Imaging actually is very good. So even if the stage is not super big because of that good imaging, it kind of improves the separation a bit. Separation is just all right here with that kind of a small stage and kind of lush and smooth presentation. The separation is not black and white. So overall, the 6XX is kind of a more fun and bassy, more warmish kind of HD600. So it still has, that qualities of the HD600. They're actually very close. So it is a very well-rounded headphone altogether. It has that super duper nice fit. Arguably better looks compared to the all black design compared to the 600, and that kind of Sennheiser house sound that you make it more fun. So definitely for 200, this is a lot of headphone for $200. Right, so yes, I would recommend this. Of course, use my links below if you want to get this from Drop themselves. You may find a sale on this. I really like buying stuff from Massdrop, so because better prices, which is something that I like. I'm a bargain hunter. So yeah, so that is my review of the 6XX. Do any of you guys own the 6XX? How do you find it? Do you like it? And do you own a 600 version Sennheiser? How do you guys like it also? I love them. I may get the 650 also just for collection, so I have 3 of them. Because I am really a fan of this design. And of course, leave a like if you learned something, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Bye.